understanding the cultural landscape. All strategy making starts with a gap analysis. Where are we now? Where do we want to get? And how to get there? As simple as that. When ministries or cultural institutions are doing their analysis of strengths and weaknesses, they often focus mainly on the problems. Because why should you talk about your strengths? A good cultural strategy always rests on its strengths. To take advantage of the opportunities in external environment and trying to find solutions to the internal weaknesses that we have and trying to avoid the threats from external environment. Often it is the SWOT analysis that is being used. SWOT meaning the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats. And while this is a very good tool to present the areas that are surrounding the environment, it's not often the very good method to analyze in detail what are the influences, what are the aspects around us that we have to take into account. So what are the alternative methods and tools you can use? For example, to analyze the external changes, the trends, either they are positive or negative, that influence us in our environment, one of the good tools you can use is PESTLE. PESTLE means political trends, so analyzing what are the trends in the political environment that could affect us. These are economic, so the economic crisis or opportunities in economic conditions. It is socio-cultural, so demographic changes or changes in people's cultural preferences and behaviors. It is technological, very important in a fastly changing environment where new technologies emerge and disappear very, very quickly. It's also a legal environment that can change the way that we need to, for example, the changes in the copyright legislation, changes in the European Union legislation that influences all member states and associates countries, but also environmental changes. So the changes in the environment, climate warming, and other environment-related trends. And you have to also understand that for the cultural strategy, no trend itself is only positive or negative. It's how do we react to these trends. We can turn negative trends to our benefits, but also we can simply sleep through a positive trend and not use it to our potential. One of the most effective tools to analyze the problems and challenges that cultural sector or your institutions are facing is the problem tree method. Now, one of the big problems in talking about weaknesses is that people often confuse the causes and effects. And problem tree method allows us to analyze problems in a very structured way and understand which are the core problems that causes many other problems and effects to come. Let me bring you an example. A museum might say that our biggest problem is lack of visitors, while actually it's not the lack of visitors that is a problem, but there are underlying problems that cause lack of visitors. Maybe the communication is very weak and people don't know about the exhibitions the museum is offering. Maybe the exhibition is simply boring. Maybe the exhibitions are interested, but the opening times of the exhibitions are not flexible and do not suit the audiences. So you have actually the real problems there that cause the effect, which is lack of people. Now, you have to understand this in order to start providing solutions. The problem tree method is very simple. It's basically a brainstorming a tool where all different challenges and problems and weaknesses are collected together. Then you make a very clear structure of them, understanding, as if you think of a tree, what are the root problems that are not under our control, like demographic changes or changes in the education system, then you understand what are the 2 or 3 or 4 the most important problems. We call them core problems. And these are the problems that are basically the causes for all other effects that we see in a culture sector or in the institution. And then as the branches and the leaves of the tree, you list all the causes and all the effects of the problems. And then if you have that visualization of the problem tree, it's easy to start providing solutions. You actually have to take the core problems and turn them into objectives, taking them in the negative form and turn into positive form. So for example, if one of your critical problems is lack of communication, so your message as a museum or as a theatre does not reach out to your audiences, then you have your main aim. Your main aim is to start communicating with your audiences. The next important step in cultural strategy making is to understand your playing field. Who are the key audiences for you? Who are the key target groups? Who are the people that you're actually targeting your strategy to? Are they only specialists or are they wider audiences? Well, probably the answer is both, but you have to understand what are the different needs and expectations of different target groups. And for different target groups, you need probably different types of activities. You need different tools to engage them in your strategy. You also have to assess different target groups' probability to change your strategy, to influence it. Some of them are very influential, so you need to deal with them actively, and some of them are less important or less interested and motivated. For them, you might not need so active strategy, but you need to keep them informed. A good strategy needs to present a clear mission and vision. Vision is a long-term picture of where we want to go and where we want to be. A good mission is specific and unique. A good vision is ambitious and articulated, clear, that everyone within your sector, within your organization, but also outside would understand it. I think very important element is to understand how do we position ourselves in the society. Why are we important? One of the tools that often is used is a devil's advocate model. You ask a very provocative question from yourself. What would happen if culture would not be present in the city strategy, for example? What would happen if my museum wouldn't exist? If your answer to this provocative question is, well, nothing would happen, then you have a problem. But I don't believe that's the case. By asking this provocative question, we might actually get closer to real impact that culture and creativity could have for the nation, for the region, and for the city on a local level. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the course useful. And if you want to learn more about how to make culture strategies, then you can find more information below this video and the program's website. Thank you.